Friends, gather round. We've got some news that's sure to get everyone talking. It seems our esteemed President Biden has, in a moment of unbridled optimism, or perhaps a senior moment, declared the Equal Rights Amendment officially part of the U.S. Constitution. That's right, folks, equal rights for all genders. A monumental step forward if it were true. At least that's what he'd like you to believe. The reality, however, is a bit more complicated. Now, before you start planning your ERA ratification rager, there's a slight snag. You see, Biden's declaration is about as legally binding as a pinky promise from a toddler. It's adorable, sure, but ultimately meaningless. A nice gesture, but it doesn't change the law. The Constitution, that grand old document, has a rather specific process for amendments, and presidential decree isn't on the list. It's a process that requires more than just a speech. Think of it like this. Biden's basically that friend who shows up to a potluck with a bag of chips and claims he's brought the main course. Everyone's happy to see him, but nobody's fooled. We all know the main course takes a bit more effort. He means well, bless his heart, but he's not exactly a legal scholar, so let's keep pushing for real change. So, if Biden can't just snap his fingers and make the ERA law, who can? It's a bit more complicated than that. Enter the National Archivist, Colleen Shogan, keeper of documents and slayer of dreams, probably. She's the one who holds the keys to the kingdom, or at least the filing cabinet. This is where the fun really begins. The archivist's role is crucial, but often overlooked. The archivist's job is to certify and publish constitutional amendments. Without her stamp of approval, nothing moves forward. Think of her as the Constitution's editor, only with less red pen and more legal hurdles. She navigates a labyrinth of rules and regulations. And boy, are there hurdles! Each step is like an obstacle course, filled with legal challenges and bureaucratic red tape. The DOJ, that bastion of bureaucratic joy, has already thrown a wrench in the works, pointing out pesky things like missed deadlines and legal opinions. They love to complicate things. See, the ERA has a bit of a history. More on that later. It's a saga filled with twists and turns. The short version is, it's been trying to become law since the 70s, and it's faced more setbacks than a three-legged horse in a steeplechase. It's a marathon, not a sprint. The deadline for ratification came and went faster than a Kardashian marriage. Blink, and you missed it. So, legally speaking, the ERA is about as relevant as a cassette tape in a Spotify world. But that doesn't mean the fight is over. Let's rewind to 1972, a simpler time of bell-bottoms and disco fever. Congress, in a rare moment of clarity, passes the Equal Rights Amendment, guaranteeing equal rights for all sexes. It seemed like a no-brainer. But then, this is America we're talking about. Controversy? You bet your sweet bippy. The amendment needed ratification by 3/4 of the states. States were given a deadline to ratify the amendment, but as the deadline approached, things got dicey. It became a political football with both sides digging in their heels. By the time the deadline rolled around, only 35 states had ratified the ERA. 3 states short. Game over, right? Not so fast. Fast forward to 2020, and Virginia decides to join the party, becoming the 38th state to ratify the ERA. Huzzah. Except, that whole pesky deadline thing? Yeah, still a problem. The fight for equality continues. So here we are, stuck in a constitutional quagmire of epic proportions. Biden's declaration, mostly symbolic. The archivist, caught between a rock and a hard place. The DOJ, probably drafting more legal opinions as we speak. What's next for the ERA? Your guess is as good as mine. Court battles? Probably. Political maneuvering? Definitely. A sudden burst of common sense and a swift resolution? Don't hold your breath. One thing's for sure, this saga is far from over. It's a classic American tale of political maneuvering, legal wrangling, and the never-ending quest for equal rights. Stay tuned, folks.